I'm going to start this off by saying that there will be many spoilers in this review. Watch at your own risk. Super Mario Odyssey has been out for more than a month now, and, well, what did I think about it? Mostly, I just fucking love the game. I'm having an incredibly hard time convincing myself that I prefer Mario 64, and I might have to give in to the inevitable shortly with that soon, because Odyssey might very well be the best controlling game I've ever played. Mario controls so tightly, and the movement options are absolutely amazing. You can tell how much time and effort Koizumi and the team spent perfecting just how he gets around, because it's insane, particularly with Cappy and the extra mid-air jumps he brings with him. I'm not sure I want another 3D Mario game without him at this point. The story is your same old story. Peach is kidnapped, Bowser wants to get it in, etc. Like in Zelda Minish Cap, our protagonist teams up with a talking hat to save the girl and the world or whatever. It's not much, but it doesn't really need to be. And now we're going to talk about the kingdoms in order that you go through them. Cap Kingdom has a really interesting aesthetic. It's all black and white and filled with Cappy's kin, the Bonitors of Boniton. Overall, aside from the aesthetic, I didn't find this kingdom to be very exciting. The music is good, but it reminds me so forcefully of the Fable soundtrack that I kept thinking of Fable whenever I was here. Not that that's a bad thing, I fucking love Fable, but for a first stage it's at least different from your bog standard grassy plain stage, so I absolutely give it points there. It's a very different first level for Mario, at least in the way it looks. Cascade Kingdom is a nice little kingdom too. I enjoyed it a lot, though here's one of the things I didn't really love. T-Rex. Sure, it's awesome to take control of one, but at the same time I thought he was so bulky and unfun to actually play as. But I mean, playing as a T-Rex should feel like that, of course, but it was one of the few summons in the game that I specifically avoided when I could. Otherwise, the stage is cool, kind of a prehistoric flavor with some good puzzles and such, but nothing too hard as a second stage in the game. Sand Kingdom gets a lot of praise from other reviewers of this game, and I can see why. It's enormous and a little different from previous Mario Sand levels. It's a little less generic than Shifting Sand Land from Mario 64, though in general I feel like I ended up spending far more time in this kingdom than I wish I was when I was 100%ing it. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I wouldn't call this one of my favorite kingdoms in the game either. The Wooded Kingdom is interesting. I kind of dig how the surfer-style music is totally at odds with the theme of the level, being a forested area filled with machinery, and I'm always in on a tower-related level in a Mario game as well. And for the most part, I really enjoyed this one, but I'm not a huge fan of the deep woods. Dealing with the T-Rex and wasting like 1,000 coins on a single moon, and for the most part, the moons aren't even all that interesting down there in the first place. It's a cool idea to accidentally fall off the side of a level but end up somewhere else instead of dying, though, so I don't really fault them for including it at all. It's an interesting, new idea. Lake Kingdom's okay. I think it's probably the most forgettable non-mini kingdom in the game, though. Lake plus fashion aesthetic, I mean, it's interesting, but it felt kind of flat. Plus, water levels are not generally my forte, but as you'll see later, that isn't always true. The Cloud Kingdom is a small little kingdom that was mostly for a Bowser boss fight that I didn't record video for, but it's also got some extra moons, including this Goomba face challenge, which was a bitch! It's alright. It's a kind of smaller stage, and you know, it's worth revisiting just 100%, but it wasn't really all that exciting. Then we're off to the Lost Kingdom, which is one of my favorites. Overall, it's a smaller kingdom than most of the others, but I thought it was just right. There's enough to do here that it's a satisfying stop in the game with a cool dinosaurus flavor without feeling remotely the same as Cascade Kingdom did. The Tropical Wiggler is one of my favorite captures in the game as well. I really enjoyed this kingdom overall. Next up is Metro Kingdom, aka New Donk City, aka the kingdom everyone thought would be the hub world a la Sonic 06, but it wasn't. And it's weird. But despite the fact that it's weird, it's also one of the best kingdoms overall. It has really interesting challenges. It's overall a pretty small space, but there's a ridiculous amount to do. I like the smaller width but taller height kind of kingdoms apparently. I wish we had more like this one. Next up is the Snow Kingdom, and it's fine. Not one of my favorites, but I like the Chivarians. One of my favorite things about the game was all the new races in the Mario universe it introduced, and by Odin's grace we'll get a new, real Paper Mario game at some point, and one of the partners will be a Chivarian. A man can dream! But back on topic, I enjoyed a lot of the challenges here, but I thought the outside part was pretty dull for the most part. The challenges inside the Chivarian City were much more my jam. Now we come to the Seaside Kingdom, aka Bubbleane, and this is one of my favorites in the game. Why though? Is it the Soda Ocean? Yes. Is it the new enemies that feel like Flood from Sunshine? Yes. Is it the sunset flavor you get after you beat the story part? Yes. Is it the dopest boss fight in the game? Yes. Just about the only thing I didn't like about this kingdom was the goddamn volleyball moon where you gotta volley 100 times. It was frustrating and boring. We don't need that one anymore, Nintendo. Please, just remove it via, patch. I don't care. Now we jump into the most shit-tier kingdom in this game, the Luncheon Kingdom. Why Kivandre, you might ask? It's got such an original feeling to it. We've never seen anything that feels like it before. And, well, you're right. Aesthetically, this place is really cool. I'm glad that this area doesn't feel like a standard lava level, but when you compare it to Lethal Lava Land from Mario 64, this place only beats it in aesthetics. Lethal Lava Land is one of the best locations in Mario 64, whereas Luncheon Kingdom is one of the worst in Odyssey. Why, though? Mostly, to me, it just felt like the pace slowed to a crawl. At least until you really learn how the map works. There are nice shortcuts and such, but overall, on your first playthrough, it feels like you're trudging incredibly slowly. Grabbing a lava bubble guy and exploring down this tunnel for purple coins, or slowly making your way this way or that. And while Lethal Lava Land had some waiting, I felt like it was easy just to run across at a glance for the most part. Flying around with the wing cap or surfing on a Koopa shell made this stage incredibly fun. Plus, somehow the big bully was a much better fight than the Kookatil. I don't hate the kingdom at all, but it's easily my least favorite. Now we come to by far the least expected kingdom in the game, Bloodborne Kingdom. I mean Ruin Kingdom. This place is dark and gloomy and really feels like it's straight out of Dark Souls. Aesthetically, anyway. It's got a pretty goddamn easy boss fight, but I never once expected to find a realistic dragon boss to fight in my new 3D Mario game. But it was the at odds with everything else appearance that really made this kingdom stand out. If the rest of the game looked like this, it would have suffered immensely, but for a short stop for a boss fight, amazing juxtaposition. Following this, it's time for another big surprise. You're going to Bowser's Kingdom, and what do you expect? A fuck ton of lava everywhere and dark iron and stone? What do you get? Feudal Japan flavored everything. I couldn't believe it when I got there, and I was very glad I didn't find the secret path to Bowser's Kingdom before then. I was like, holy shit, this is way different than I expected. And I loved every minute of Bowser's Kingdom. Not only does it have the most awesome capture in the game, but it's also got a great boss fight that I didn't record and an overall really great, everything. I would absolutely love it if, in the next Mario Kart, the expected Bowser's Castle track is based on this kingdom. It better be, because I love this so much. Fuck, Jesus, I loved it. Sorry, back on track. I'm even okay with it being more linear. It honestly felt a little like Mario Galaxy, and I like Galaxy, but I don't want a full game of linear levels like that anymore either. 1 or 2 is totally fine in my book, and honestly it helps us make them stand out on their own, but this place is expertly crafted. Next up, we head to the moon! The X-Nauts appear to be long gone, but they left behind a nice chapel for marriages to happen in, as well as some moon frogs and weird aliens and such. The Moon Kingdom is pretty cool, but it's mostly exactly what you'd expect. Pretty desolate, lower gravity, just gray rock and some alien squids, normal moon stuff. There's also this kind of linear trial gauntlet in a much more standard Bowser's Castle aesthetic too, and you get to beat Charge and Chuck, which is really cool. I like the Moon Kingdom, but I probably wouldn't put it in my top 5. This is also where we beat the game. We beat the shit out of Bowser, and then we become Bowser, which from the beginning was something I'd hope we'd do, and the ending was absolutely excellent. You think we're done because the credits rolled? Fuck you, we're off to Nostalgia Kingdom, where we find Princess Peach's castle from Mario 64 with the same music and everything. And we get a polygonal outfit for Mario, and there's a Yoshi on the roof, and oh god, everything is so amazing. I basically just orgasmed over and over in this place. There are some cool extra things here too, and some of the toughest challenges in the game are also here. Fuck this moving background shit! But mostly I just really appreciated this. I was unfortunately spoiled that this kingdom existed though by other YouTube channels who had this game before release, so rip my hopes and dreams, but still. I'm glad I didn't find the portal here either earlier in this game, regardless. And now we're back to the moon for the final 2 kingdoms, and honestly I feel like they could have just included all of this in the Moon Kingdom itself rather than having the moon take up 3 different places on the world map. Dark Side and Darker Side are bitches. Dark Side has one of the hardest pair of moons in this game, as well as a bunch of those weird puzzles you gotta find in other kingdoms with screenshots, which is fine I suppose. It's also got a gauntlet of all the Brutals back to back, and honestly I don't ever need to see the Brutals again in a video game. There's nothing wrong with the Koopalings, and they're a hell of a lot better than the Brutals, but I can't blame Nintendo for trying something new, either. But they got pretty repetitive, and fuck doing this without the Peach Amiibo, that thing saved my life. Darker Side is pretty standard fare for the last several 3D Mario games like Champion's Road and The Final Test. It's easier than those though, but not without challenge. Unless you just skip most of it using Glide-On plus Waggle. I wasted many coins getting through it, but eventually I managed to do it, and I was pretty proud. After that, you get a nice little wrap-up farewell from Cappy as you frog jump the Empire State Building, and that's the kind of true end to the game. What do I mean by kind of true end to the game? Well, the game caps out your moons at 999 total to 100% the game. There are more than 800 moons to find just out there in the game, and the rest you gotta sell your ass on the street to afford to buy. Or you could just use this one coin grinding location in Bowser's Kingdom while watching My Hero Academia on your second monitor. That's what I did. But eventually you get 999 moons, and you get this nice little thing in the Mushroom Kingdom where the castle is wearing a top hat. And then you cry because you have nothing else to do in the game anymore, and Super Mario Odyssey 2 when? I love this game. Buy it, play the shit out of it, let it consume your soul. You won't regret it. An easy 10 out of 10 from me, and also easily now in my top 5 games of all time. Not sure where. We'll see.
And my name's Bobby, and I actually wasn't the one playing Odyssey. He did this all on his own. So, it was pretty to watch. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, bitches!
Yeah.
10 out of 10. Okay, bye.
Goodbye.